all, and welcome to the Old Iron Talk podcast. I'm your host, Callie, and today we have special guest Alex from Aumann. We are going to be discussing our upcoming auctions and what he's been up to. Let's crack a beer and get to chatting.
My fingernails aren't long enough for that.
Sounds like a you problem.
It is.
Well, this is take 2 of this episode. We tried yesterday, and it was quite a fail, so let's try this again.
Let's not go to third time's a charm.
Yes,
we're going to go
not.
second time's a charm this time.
We got it this time. So what have you been up to recently, Alex?
Everything. Yeah, honestly, it's just been like a crazy month, past couple weeks, with just traveling, trying to get up to North Dakota because it's snowing too much, and then, going to Oregon, Washington, and then tractor school and the open house. So that's all been in the last month, and I don't know, it seems like it's just kind of flown by.
Definitely has. It's going to be the end of April before you know it too.
Right. I know. Yeah, I'm excited for it, but I'm also like, want to make sure everything's right and ready to go, and and then all the other stuff that we have on the schedule, get that done too.
That'd be good. That'd be ideal.
Well, I know.
What are some of your highlights from tractor school this past weekend?
Man, we really had a good time. I mean, there were tons of people here. I think we ended up with like 250 people, and it was really kind of a good place to meet up and have fun, talk to people. We had lots of good presenters this year. Some guys that were presenters last year did different things this year. So one of my favorites was probably an interview with Lou and John Tissey.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I've spent a lot of time at John's, and he's got big folders that he has kind of collected over the years, and it's all pictures that he's taken on all his trips, and there's thousands. And talking to him, he can talk about any picture in that book and tell you pretty almost what day it was, what the weather was like. It's a photographic memory. Yeah. And you look through it, and there's things like 45 Titans in the wild, B. Rumleys. That was one of the ones that I found while we were in there talking. We were at his coffee table, and there was a bee that they were getting started, and it ended up it was your granddad's bee.
Yeah,
so that was kind of cool.
Very cool.
But just sitting there and listening to him tell the stories about each kind of trip, and some of the collectors that he used to collect with too, was really kind of neat.
Yeah.
So that was probably one of my favorites. And then we also had live demonstrations. KR and JT Bice, they poured Babbitt. So that was kind of neat to see, and just kind of see that whole process, and in front of a live audience. I mean, that's kind of a pressure thing, but it ended up really nice. Had a great crowd, and got to run a lot of tractors, play with engines, and it was all in all a good time.
It was,
And we had, Friday night, we had a big gathering where we had pulled pork, tons of people there, bowled some shrimp, and the bar was open.
It was. It
probably
surely
for longer
was.
than it should have been.
I would agree with that.
It was a good time.
It was.
I think nobody walked away without having a good time from that. So.
That's true.
And I did win in cornhole. So
barely. First time in 2 years. Let's just make that straight.
Well, we're not counting, but a
we
win's
are
a
counting.
win. A win's a win.
First time in 2 years.
I know. It's sad. It's sad when you say it like that, but
it is.
I still feel good about it.
I don't, but it's okay. We'll recover. In addition, like you had said, we started quite a bit of tractors, engines, everything during the tractor school. One of them that you actually started here for us was the Mogul. Yeah. And Miranda, if you wouldn't mind bringing that up, you can kind of go through what you were doing in the process of starting that tractor, if you don't mind.
Yeah. This is a super neat tractor. It has kind of some interesting, information on it. That tractor it's pretty much all brand new. It has been mechanically gone through. The engine is original, but a lot of the frame and parts have been rebuilt and kind of aged to patina match, and it's like driving a new tractor, and it starts really, really well. Basically, you go through, you prime it, make sure the decompression is on, oil everything down, and roll it over a couple times, and it takes off. And once you get everything's set, take the fuel down just a little bit and raise up the advance. It's smooth as you can be.
Yeah. Now, with these junior moguls, they only made about like 815 of them.
Right.
And there's not very many left today, correct?
Right. Yeah. So less than, I think there's less than a 10 known for sure. I know there's a couple projects that are being rebuilt and built. So I think maybe 6, 7, 8 somewhere around there, maybe a few more.
That's crazy.
In the works.
And they're a 1-cylinder tractor versus 2, like the Giant.
Right. So it's just like it's basically their same engine as that they sold as a stationary, just mounted on a tractor chassis, and everything's geared up and ready to go for a tractor.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
All right, Miranda, if you wouldn't mind, could you bring up the Russell next? I know. Kind of give them a rundown on what's unique about that tractor.
Yeah, it's another super cool one. Again, I'm just kind of I'm a sucker for original stuff, and that is a nice original tractor. It was bought out of South Dakota from the original family, and that was on an auction. It was bought by Ken Eater. And it's been at his show and been featured at that show, year after year. And it's kind of a big one that used to spend a lot of time on the sawmill there and demoed at the show. And then also it would be a plow tractor. So, it had an 8-bottom plow that was hooked behind it. I've ridden on it, I think last time, I think it was 2018 or so that Kurt and I went out there and we rode on that with Ken, so it was a lot of fun. And it's a strong tractor. I mean, it's one of the unique aspects of it is the ignition system on that. The way it's set up, it's got a Bosch ignition system, and instead of traditional tractors, you're gonna pull it over and the mag's gonna click and it's hopefully starts. This actually has an electronic ignition, so you get everything really kind of set perfect, and everything's primed, and you go up there and you hit the switch, and it buzzes and starts. So it's a little bit of a tedious process just to kind of get down, but I think once you had everything kind of correct and ready to go, it would probably do it every time. But I imagine learning that back in the day, that was probably pretty difficult.
I'm sure that would be something completely foreign back then.
Yeah, and it's not like today we can go we can get our Farm All M and belt up to it if need be, but back then it was like, well, let's try again. Yeah.
Okay, so I've got to ask you, out of the listing, what's your favorite?
Probably tractor wise, I would say either the Mogul Junior or the Russell. They're both unique in their own right. Like I said, the Junior, it's like driving a new tractor, and everything's just kind of perfect on it. Yeah. And the Russell is it's got a big, powerful look to it. I mean, it's got it's got wheel extensions, so it's real wide, and it's an impressive tractor. So it's one that, and it's another one that you're never going to see at a show. And the Mogul's the same. It's rare enough that it's not like you're going to go to your local show and see another one probably.
True. Now, do you know the history behind with the Russells, how they used to have the round radiator that kind of looked like an Aumann Taylor? Yeah. And then they changed it.
Right, and then updated it to what you see on this one was more of like an automotive style, but it did have that tube style radiator, like the Aumann Taylor and some of the other ones, like a Twin City type thing. Yeah. But this one's that later style. I mean, personally, I kind of like the old style just because it looks old, and it's always one of those that it's funny, you go to shows and show something like that off, it never fails. It's people that aren't necessarily familiar with it, it's like, oh, that's a steam engine, right? I'm like, no, not quite. Just that's a radiator, but but it's it's good for people to see different stuff like that.
Yes. One of my personal favorites from our auction is the little Mogul model. Miranda, if you wouldn't mind pulling that up, can you kind of give us a history on this little guy?
Yeah. Another cool one. So this is modeled after a 20-horse Type C, and it was built by a gentleman out of Estevan, Saskatchewan. And I think he built this particular one in the 80s.
Okay.
Did a phenomenal job with it. It actually, just like the original tractors, it has one gear forward, one gear reverse, and it works. It's got a clutch and everything in it, and it's like the easiest starting model I've ever seen.
It is, yes.
Once you have everything ready to go, and you just put the knife switch over and turn it over, and it's off to the races. So that's actually a really cool model. I'm probably one of the more impressive ones that I've seen in a long time. And it's I think the wheels on it are probably maybe 12 inches or so. So I think they have it pegged as I think it's not a 6 scale, but it's small, but it's big enough to play with.
Yes, it is. Those things are so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna switch gears here. What's your top engine choice for the sale?
Well, top engine choice. There is a lot to choose from.
There is. There are a lot of engines.
Yeah, I think we've got over 200 this year. So it's kind of like a choose your own adventure type. There's plenty to choose from. But I mean, some of the coolest ones, I would say something like the Stickney Junior. That's a really awesome one. It's not like anything else that you would see traditionally with an engine. It's a big. I think I have a video of it. It's a vertical engine that has one big flywheel. It's a donut flywheel, so it's rounded.
Yeah.
But it's also a really nice original. You can see on the cylinder, it's got Charles Stickney on there with their logo.
That's cool.
And it runs beautifully. It's got a new tank on it, and it was worked on. That also came from Ken Eater's collection.
Okay.
So that's a nice one, and it runs nice. So, but we've also got if you're into smaller engines, we've got something like a 2-horse Baby Geyser, and if you're into bigger engines, we've got something like a 50-horse Samson. So, which is a super cool engine.
That one is really cool to watch run too.
Yeah, and that actually. That's got some neat history behind it as well. That came out of a mine in Arizona.
Oh wow!
And when it was pulled out, it had been stripped basically of all its parts. So and there's not another one. So they had to basically go off of photos to rebuild it. And when they did that, I mean they did a great job.
Yeah.
It had been through a couple collectors, so. And they finally found somebody that was kind of willing to put in the research and work, and there were a bunch of people that helped out on the project, but it really turned out nice. And it's one that it starts really easy. It runs on propane or gas. They've got it set up both ways, and then also it has a unique feature on there too that there's a big lever on the side, kind of directly above the carburetor. That you can basically turn off each cylinder, so you can run on one cylinder, and choose which one. So you can run it on the left one if you want, or which I don't know why you would choose either one or the other, but I guess it was for you basically have 25 horsepower at that point. But
that is cool.
Yeah.
A little different. Miranda, do you want to pull up the video that we have of the Davis engine?
Oh yeah.
This one's pretty cool too.
Yeah. That actually, that's a beautiful engine. It went through a restoration probably last year. Super clean engine. Came from a well-known collector that is kind of known for his attention to detail, and
you can tell.
It shows. He did a lot of work to it, as far as mechanically, and then. Did some bright work, and polished a lot of pieces and kind of made it look really nice, and then put it on more of a what I'll call a presentation base. That wood frame is I'm lucky if I can build a box. This I would eat off of, honestly, because it's that nice, and it looks like it was made by a cabinet maker.
Yes, it does. That's a very nice base that it has. All right. Well, in addition to that, we had kind of brought up the model engines, and I know we have a video of the vertical hot air engine. Do you want to kind of describe that one for us?
Yeah. This is something I've always kind of been fascinated with, because you think of something and it's like, well, everything has fuel and engine runs on fuel, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, this one runs on heat alone. So it has a container there at the bottom that it's more of a lamp light.
Mm-hmm. So
you light that, it heats the bottom of the cylinder, and it basically runs off of that heat, which is super cool. And back in the day, they had these engines to do really small jobs, mm-hmm. and I've got one myself that is a fan. So when it heats up and runs, it has a brass fan that it turns, and it actually works a lot better than what you'd expect.
Really?
Yeah. And it's something that back in the day everybody had lamps and would have kerosene
mm-hmm.
around, so it was easy to run, and they're super, super quiet. It's kind of like running a small steam engine without having steam.
It is very cool.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, kind of wraps up some of the things that we did the past weekend. Where are you headed next?
Well, I've got I've got to go back out to Oregon. I spent some time out there here a couple weeks ago looking at some different collections. A little bit of everything out there. We've got probably some, maybe some late model tractors we're looking at, maybe some engines, and a couple other collections there. And then I've also got to go out to the East Coast and do a few trips out that way to look at a couple more collections. And then our schedule's a little bit behind because weather-wise it's been a terrible winter.
It has been crazy. Not for us, but
I know. Yeah, it actually hasn't been bad here. I mean, we've had a couple cold days. We haven't had. I think we had maybe one snow.
Yeah, maybe if you even count that as
snow. Right. Yeah. Well, I'm from Mississippi, so any kind of
that's true.
anything that is white that comes down, it's immediately a snowstorm.
That's fair.
Everybody goes and gets bread, milk. The essentials stays in for a couple days, but up here it's a little different.
Well, when we moved down here, it's a 3-hour difference from where I'm originally from. But the first year we moved down here, there was one day where we got a couple inches of snow. And I was so annoyed with how people were driving, because you would have thought it was the greatest blizzard they'd ever seen in their life. It was insane how different it is.
Which is shocking to me, because I moved, when I moved from Mississippi, it's 8 hours to where I grew up. And I thought, man, I'm going to have, I'm going to be able to do stuff like snowmobile and ice fish. Maybe, I'm still a little sketched out by the ice fishing deal. That seems
it can get a little sketchy.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm there yet, but especially not here. I was shocked that, I mean, if we get, if we got a foot of snow here, it's it's a big deal too.
It is. Yes.
But if you go up north, 3-4 hours, totally different. Different. Shocking to me.
Yes, it was very shocking.
But that's been our main problem. Because we've got 4 auctions in North Dakota, and we cannot get up there right now. It's I went up there. It's probably been 4 weeks ago now, and just to kind of get a couple things. I went to go look at another collection and get some photos and stuff from. I visited with John and get some photos of another collection, and it was. I think the high was. It was -17 for the day.
Oh my gosh!
And
no thanks.
I mean, I don't even know how people survive up there.
No.
You're not supposed to. I don't think.
I don't think so.
I was thinking, what do you do? And everybody's like, oh, you just go out, do whatever you got to do. And I'm like, no, and you can't. I mean, your body cannot survive outside.
No.
So I actually had to go to the store and buy bigger gloves. I guess they're snowmobile gloves.
Yeah.
I don't know. But they've got little pockets on the back of the on the top of the hand, and it actually came in handy because you could shove a little hand warmer in there. It was for real.
Oh, it would be nice.
Yeah, it was all right. It made things a little bit better. It didn't do so much for my toes, but I still have them all. So.
Oh, that's good. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
How do they Kurt was saying he was talking to somebody out there, and they had snow up to their windows. How do they prepare for that? Do you leave your house?
I don't know. I mean, for us trying to go up there right now, we can't even get into the sheds. So I don't know. I guess you do the bare essentials because the folks that I've been trying to get to, they've got they've had anywhere from 40 to 60 inches on the ground.
That's
and
crazy.
They said the drifts just off of their driveway are 10, 12 feet tall.
Oh my gosh.
So, you go up there, and I'm talking about North Dakota, it's so wide open that the wind is like a 30-mile-an-hour wind is normal.
Yeah.
And so, you can imagine that stuff drifting up against your shed, and I mean, there's no opening the doors.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, unfortunately, I think we're probably going to have to move auctions back, which this will be like the first time that I think we've had to do that because of the winter.
Yeah.
Last year we had a sale at the Divide County Threshing Bee grounds, and that was in May. But we had everything cataloged in February and March, and it was fine.
Yeah.
There was no snow on the ground at all.
Well, even Iowa's got hit pretty hard this year.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah. And that's another. Iowa. We've got an auction in northern Iowa and southern Minnesota, and they've just gotten hammered over. I keep calling week after week, and I feel bad. Because I'm like, well, it's decent weather here, but it's not.
It's not there. That's too bad.
No. So I don't know. It makes me nervous because I like for everything to kind of be on time and ready to go, and I feel like I'm kind of just waiting, rubbing my hands together like, let's go, because we've got a busy schedule this year, and it doesn't help to have free time.
No, it does not.
So,
how long have you been with Aumanns now?
13 years.
13 years.
Yeah. So I went to school in Mississippi and
For accounting.
Yeah, for accounting. So which is I think shocking for a lot of people.
It is very.
So I went to Ole Miss and got my accounting degree there. And after it was right after I graduated, I met Kurt and we were talking, and he's like, well, why don't and my plan was to go get my CPA and you have to go back for more hours to do that.
Yeah. So.
I thought, well, Kurt had talked to me and he said, well, you should come try this out. And I thought, well, okay. I've been trying it out for 13 years now. And
here you are.
I don't think I'm going to go back at this point.
I wouldn't.
No. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine myself going from, what I'm doing now, running around all over the place, traveling, visiting different people and getting to see collections and, having a lot of fun, playing with stuff, to sitting behind a desk and crunching numbers.
Yeah.
So I just don't think it's in the cards anymore.
That would be a big change.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
Yeah.
What is the top auction that you would have started with? Like, what's one of your favorites?
One of my favorites was one of my firsts. So that was the Parlett Farm Museum, and that was in Maryland. Lots of things going on for it. It was a beautiful place. Had tons and tons of stuff. It was actually a 4-day live auction at that time. We had multiple rings each day. So
that's crazy.
There was so much stuff.
Yeah.
So much stuff. And they had anything from, they had late model John Deeres to early John Deeres, and then early tractors, and then a lot of like primitive things like they had, and it was all really nice stuff. There was no junk there, and stuff that you just never saw. One day we'd be selling apple butter kettles and forging tools, and then the other day we'd be selling. There was a horsepower, so where the horse walks and powers
that is awesome. Yep.
And then then we had tractors and cars and you name it.
Yeah.
It was kind of a wild auction.
That sounds like it.
Had the crab cakes were there, so I can't complain with that.
Can.
That's one thing is a must for me. Wherever I travel, I have to try something.
Something different.
Yeah. Taste the local flavors, I guess.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right, I got one more question for you. What's your dream tractor?
There's so many. Dream tractor. I like different stuff. So, having something, kind of special that you're not going to see anywhere, is important. But also, like, you want something that is reliable and runs really well.
Yes.
So, which could range from anything. My first tractor was a 1220 Hyder Model C.
Okay.
And that was kind of cool. It was different. It's a friction drive tractor, so something different there. And I've always tried to have something different. So having something like like the Russell or the Mogul, that'd be
cool.
A dream tractor.
Yes.
I had last year we had the 3060 case.
Mm-hmm.
That was such a cool tractor.
That was a very cool tractor.
Super impressive. That one was restored really nice, and it also ran really nice. So, it was an easy starter, and but then you get into other stuff that's smaller. Kind of like we have at the Pre 30. I ran that Peoria tractor around. It's completely different, and just kind of a fun one.
It is, yeah. Nothing's unique.
I'm not sure how good it would be at actually like. Plowing or having farming with.
Yes,
but
probably pain.
Yeah, it always seems like the more collectible something is, the worse it is at farming.
Yeah.
That's
why there's not many left.
That's right. Yeah, they only sold a few because they were so bad.
Yep, exactly. What's your top show you've been to?
Man, I guess I've been to a fair amount, but some of my favorites would be going down to North Carolina in November. That's where for Eaterville, that's in Carthage, North Carolina. So that's 100 years of farm progress. That's an awesome one. Another one that I really enjoy going to would be the Divide County Threshing Bee in North Dakota. But there's others that I haven't gotten a chance to go to just because of the schedule that I want to go so bad. But and I'm going to try and make one of kind of my bucket list shows that I haven't been able to make over the years, but I'm making time this year is the Cool Spring show. Okay. So that's a big engine show. Tons of engines in general, and a lot of rare stuff. And they've had some great features over the past years that include like slide valve engines. Okay. So a lot of neat stuff there. And then it's hard to choose. It is, yes. Because every show has their own unique aspect and area and people. So it's kind of neat just to kind of pick a new one and go around. And then there's some private shows that I say private, but they're public, but kind of invite type shows that are really awesome to go to. Mm-hmm. And I've had some really good food at those shows. Yeah, I bet. So back to the food, I guess.
I think you're really driven by food.
I am.
Well, one item we are selling that would be a good addition to a show is the little train car. Miranda, if you want to pull that video up. Yeah. We took a test ride on that baby.
I was going to say.
Open house.
Yeah. No, that's a pretty sweet one. And not only that, at the beginning of the video, I think you catch that little model Galloway too. Yes, that's actually a pretty cool model. It is very cool. It's got an air-cooled Wisconsin in it. It's an electric start, so it's kind of a neat one. And then you add the barrel train into it. And there, everybody had a lot of fun with that.
Everybody did.
Yes. It was kind of not sad, but unfortunate. We had a little bad weather Friday when we had the tractor school, but that Saturday it really turned nice in the afternoon. Yeah, it did. And we were able to run that around. And I think Josh and Austin ran that quite a bit. And I know I rode in it. Josh rode in it. You rode in it. Miranda, she took a ride. So it's actually a lot of fun.
It is. It's a fun little thing to ride around.
And kids rode it too. Yeah. We were it wasn't just us big kids, I guess. Amy had her kids on it. I know my little girl, she rode in it for a little bit, and
Michaela's did.
Yeah. Yep. So we had we did let the kids have a
Yeah,
have
they
a
had some
chance at
fun
it.
too. Well, Alex, we want to thank you for joining us today and coming on, kind of talking with us about the auctions coming up.
Congrats with this. This is awesome. I think it's a fun thing to do. I know Kurt's talked about it for a long time, and you finally pushed him over to get after it.
We got there.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
I know. But, well, hey, it's a lot of fun, and I think you've kind of got an opportunity to speak to a lot of different people and have a lot of fun with it. So yes. I'm looking forward to the stories and stuff like that. Maybe we'll catch up again as the year goes by.
If you're here.
Yeah. Yeah. Now's my time to leave, and I'll see you in about 4 months.
Yep. Well, thanks again. Don't forget, everybody, to check out all of our pre-30 sales at AumannAuctions.com. We also invite you to visit Old Iron Garage to connect with other collectors and enthusiasts. We will be posting all of our materials used in our episodes to the community page on Old Iron Garage. So make sure to join the Old Iron Talk group. Thank you all for listening, and make sure you follow us on your favorite podcast streaming platform.